means ebia obi almost Ken they were very temperamental but obi what could donate 245 picks up our party what donate 100 brand new picks up our party 2004 2008 donated 77 Osama 2008 now Osama $2 million what donated 245 pickups as Osama the same party in 2008 general elections na party chrono so almost be beach ya one here obi 200 and saying my can be 2000 for instance so donated 15 brand new pickups trucks and my party no we share the year 2004 on my 100 brand new pickups and my party no we share the year 2008 or the camera 77 Russian trucks no at the support party no and 2008 your call second round no one and a partner company no my party no $2 million at the call second round
like monetary contribution.
Yeah, monetary contribution, yes. We had the same 2008 now we donated 245 brand new pickups startup pickups Emma party no 245 yes at a go yes and we just selected fewer send other philanthropic job but I'm just building a case say una ohun akoti bibi mu say no be at the corner chia ho one who ya kwa obefa so aka no no e be completely different from obi a ne teku na na simple anya dey enkomu. So yes, instead of people seeing him as Ken they were temperamental, no? I mean he's somebody who is overly passionate about the things he believes in. Indeed, there are 1,000 and good aspects of Ken. I mean, Obi aya politics since 92 Okroma Obi. There has not been a single instance say you're pressing any corruption charge or allegation of corruption on such a person. You think such a person, that character trait say or incorruptible, we cannot exploit it for the betterment of the country. Nipa onu timi kan the party assembly. You think he's not disciplined, he's not bold, he's not courageous, he's not fearless, somebody who can challenge the status quo. Today party made a decision, he challenged the status quo. Today the evidence on the ground is me say the party people rather believes in the status quo now are challenging. You think such a person cannot be a leader? So
but I'm occupy the office of president, no? When a fellow is overly passionate,
yes,
that is a problem.
I'm coming. Maybe I answer hono.
Okay.
But to land no, the point I'm making with let Ken be Ken, they say yes, Ken. Obviously, everybody have to overcome certain shortcomings. Everybody has to progress. Everybody has to grow. But the principle that we are establishing in let Ken be Ken, they say there are 1,001 reasons about on the character personality of Ken. I also assume we do not need to alter it.
Okay.
So let him be who he is. In terms of discipline, in terms of his courage, in terms of he being fearless, in terms of so obitima creating numa, obitima fighting corruption, obitima looking into his own party people and challenge the status quo. What is lived, let him be who he is. Don't let us define a presidential material for us, because our presidential material now as a attractor. Oh, say acquire say a script we na play. Solomon mo na start your Bible baby kiss or bar who say nipa nyina ho no afakora no apagya no no afe na fono e ko no nko mfakora no mpagya no ana afa okuvan da boy mo beto aso no obu mati okay wale se mu ne sigatem ne tigatem. If there are strong institutions and strong system with strong leadership and pragmatic leadership, you don't need a president or kujina gatemate. Here say ubekwa kobo biti ansa no ato abaye de amon. Ye politicians so kwakoko obi benku. All in the name of that, we need to get somebody who appears humble, who is yes, humility is good. But now, especially with the last election here, winning an election goes beyond humility. Yes, it's a combination of humility, courage, and boldness. You get that character trait in Ken Agyapong. So that's why we're saying that man changes status quo. Don't let us redefine a certain presidential material and now say you define who a presidential material should be in the context of Ghana. And yes, I will make somebody who can really cause revolution and transformation for our country. That's why we meant let Ken be Ken. Yes, but it wasn't the way say I say yeah, can say bibi and so Ken. But
that is what that tagline seems to be communicating.
Exactly, but at the end of the day, it boils down to communication. We say, no, we are not saying, say, Bibi or Ken, Obi, me tell you, me interview me no obey. Me na ye fa professors of languages and communication someone trans. Obi, won betimanya no ma bibra me kan ya no musu se ka me dana na kakra. Me boa. Nanka eto asomo me nipa bi de agitumu. Kan ye nipa. Me trail videos whitewash na obi si me hu. No ma bi wo ho a I mean, me I cry me to some of the videos me share. Yeah, do the difference by the ever do. But Obi, the average Ghanaian, and the reported that World Bank reported that say by 2030 there will be 1.2 billion job hands. Out of that 1.2 billion job hands, about 800 million of them will not be in existence. Only 400 million will be in existence. Obi, Ghana Statistical Service was so bad Ghana ha. 80% of Unkofo Juma Wahano, they are paid less than 3,000 Ghana cedis. Oh, come back to oh, Ghana, the unemployment rate is 14%. But the people who are unemployed, are actually underemployed and underpaid. The same Ghana Statistical Service Habakacho said 20% of Ghana are living in abject poverty. 80% are earning less than 3,000. Now we had as what the Petro say. Now we are Yasakacho said the remaining 20% now can only live in abject poverty. Into your population, the population of people are one more live say wealth and not even wealth, decent life in Ghana. So live decent life with decent meaning. They won't be up to 0.001%. What I say, all these people are there, and for me, all those people, they are more interested in say, Papa create jobs are more. They are more interested in who can help them live the Ghanaian dream. Just like America ultimately live American dream, you could live the UK dream, but in his own country. But
in terms of the job creation credential,
yes,
you've heard some of Mamo Party for who say the person you are talking about say, or what the acumen to create jobs, what he is known for, any government contractor onya, and or any real wild entrepreneurship way in a way implement when you take real entrepreneurs, you will not put him in that category because a government contract boom na onya no be no dem party for this whole day are more na assembly. How do you respond to that?
Obi wadaroma ma fa some few edwuma kakra minimum say me nante enche you.
Sure.
But kakra minimum say fruit land Ken Agyapong here dey ebie. Fruit land, yeah. One process anka.
Ewo hin.
Ewo Asen Central Region. The entiama the factory she say no operationalization one from they say or install machines no within 2 months that the whole Ghana process anka wa hanyina wi. Into raw materials no kwa hanya dey anyhow. So I mean found quite Ashanti Steel.
It means that company is egu
ewo ho, but in terms of viable. Okay. I mean found quite Ashanti Steel. Ashanti Steel so Ken Agyapong there. Ashanti Steel. Yes. There be no the obi in the Tamaha, the steel factory. The D Ashanti Steel.
Okay.
I know agro processing company friend Amantim Agro.
And also Accra.
I need to confirm baby I know Amantim Agro.
Okay.
Central Sugar Shake Ken Agyapong there.
Central Sugar
Shake Ken Agyapong there.
The year 60.
Yes, Central Sugar.
Hey.
I'm saying found cook a cold store business no. Asempa cold store Ken Agyapong there.
Asempa FM ye cold store.
Nyamudia na ma ko bi watema Adepa cold store Ken Agyapong there. Adeseman cold store Ken Agyapong there. Ana Adwenipa cold store near the biggest cold store in the whole of Africa Ken Agyapong there.
I know na onwie
I know onwie Augusto no na 2 Ken Agyapong there. Oman FM Ken Agyapong there. Ash FM Ken Agyapong there. Na radio Ken Agyapong there. So and this will be catch me say Ken Agyapong adwuma wo ye nyina aye supplies. First of all, there is nothing even wrong with so be your supplies provided so your supplies no nyamfa so or sa the best of mine. Hey, ye wo nipa mako ha. Ana wo your supplies. Ana ultimate supplies they mu 10% e create say adwuma wo krom ha. Ana ka ha ne mfa nkototo dan ewo ebi enkofa ma so bi me susu say enke ekwe ani mo pa. And what is so wrong with a Ghanaian person? And that is why obu ha of course me own reservations about Mahamani Ninyano. But no maybe me principle me de cut all the conversation they say it's our contract we say legality be any na suspicion be any man. Na there are options of said China and any other Ghana and Ghana today. What I say, me, I have that philosophy. Forget about where party stands, which I respect party's decision. So that we will do the politics of it.
Sure.
But again, and Ibenya, Se Zoom line obenya. Se Bahima ha obenya. Se Ken Agyapong obenya. Na sika na ka abakroma. What is so wrong? What so wrong with that? Nti one more moka no ye government supplies. No ye when me a mini capre kwa se me mma kwanya kwa bit my government supplies. But beyond the government supplies, he's demonstrated a mark of entrepreneurism. And that is what I've listed to you. Nti enye obi kasa me nkasa sini who they will make can say is based on information or day or what. Enuntino or mananya sign in as one year day, a cassasam. Now, a government supplies that is Unyas Ganas had a boy party now and come for so better. Now, no man bobo, ye say few things away. $6 million cardiothoracic center, one more issue 37. We have government contract now, what they are, and the party for Ghana for Bacachos and another papa now. Sir, a health worker, sir, one more cardiothoracic center, where so one more or more $100,000 American train room. A government contract, no, you no, the or your supplies, no, the bar, M1. You do COVID-19 or donate you $200,000. The same COVID-19 anchors on 100,000 pieces of face masks, 100,000 hand gloves, 10,000 gallons of hand sanitizers. So you government supplies. Now we don't faso. Now the boy who say media means so be a day. And yet I'm on your semi ya. Can we can ask him be a that name so a government contract. I've heard I asked him. I said almost no case. Yes, so Kennedy no case and a mere course a course lessons. 92 wakasayo they not turn what you 96 wakasayo 2016 wakasai and not 2016 team win election
maybe in those years no mo opponents no and you soon a voice as a major campaign plan kinti oshe NDC last 1 month to the elections no or last 2 months to the elections now almost all their TV adverts no had a voice of Ken Agyapong
it will be say and this is never Ghana Hano. No moon here Ken Agyapong's voice to tell them say economy baby and janenye. No,
they knew say and this is one kwa bar omunt mi they needed omwe one medal. And for those people, no, some of these things may have swayed them.
Ken Agyapong a kai MPP for be bro man kotrabano. I mean ushe ni pa kotrabano.
Yeah.
That's over 2.1 million difference.
Sure.
Sure. Ken Agyapong a kai omo hu say baby a o mine jana ho chabem. Ken Agyapong kasa na am yen who say if we had to do race for yanye. I mean, we should move beyond that. So our conversation on what the BAM here, the scam may go outside the core report. People may also import what they believe calls as the lesson. Ken Agyapong is not the saint. Yes, we admit Senator Ken Agyapong no more be brave or sebio from Afanya the entry. But you see, do you know the true hallmark of a great leader and the true trademark of a great leader? You take responsibility and look into the people's face and say, "Most mommy."
But you've also heard say,
"What means you?"
Okay, for honest.
Most mommy.
Yes.
Baby, this is our outcome. On behalf of the party, I take full responsibility. We will come again and we will make it better. That is it. But when it happens, you say, as soon as you can't say, or Bentina can't say, a man hadring. So, to this, Ken Agyapong Casa and a man 2.1 million MPP for farmer trouble. And then this is for sure, sir.
You've heard, sir, in the period and more year internal primaries.
Yes.
You know, and no, the candidate spoke directly to party for no. The narrative from the Ken Agyapong camp was to the effect, say, oh, Omodi Diejamo. Modi Omoba or Monewa power or Mudidi. And at that point now also that seed of indifference in party for oh Modi Diaja idea and fire and the Muamun Concotomaba. And that bitterness apart from about or Muamo party, you know, the seats no were sown by
school placement.
Yes.
Me let me want me to show for education.
Yes.
Party need bit my fro so here school placement. Or fro also oh I hold in you or crowd access on to me or pim so. A week time, no I send a message a bit break your heart. No I send a screenshot. I've paid 20,000 to pay somebody and it has been done. You thought Ken Agyapong reminded them of that. Party for the police are come in Yanko police. Police station executive. Or travel party need a ton slot on a man. Edge 20,000, 30,000, 40,000. Ken Agyapong then say Kai almost say this is the situation that they are in. Obi Asante region. In terms of development gap, and Kumase Forman, Ken Agyapong, you see, Okowa, last 2 weeks to election, in the end this year, almost more communicators, almost so, more 3 projects are buying by wire was Asante. Now, Omo fans so. A man also come who or Kenya market and the central market.
Central market.
And Mammo, and Ken Agyapong a Kai, say the tear. Don't let us say, Yes, you need said dollar no at some point no COVID no ECH no ahoden na the echo from. Enti obi car na me sabe me Highlander me twi no me say me turn 400,000 dollar na say no mo turn 800,000 na bi kwa turn 900,000 be 1 million and okay upon the car for exporters is omoko ba see net here.
But those were the reality, I agree. But when you have a party senior person amplifying that, you are giving momentum to the opposition.
Let me tell you all what Ken Agyapong was doing is say if we don't correct those things it will cause our defeat. And it depends on how people want to understand and construe it. Say kokobo ba say enka dollar na da 4 say I could do 17 say obibi ye or ho a ye money ye ya na ye ntimi anwa and how do you blame or no for that? And ye Kennedy na say wa hode ba o so na timi e cause for the whole party's defeat. Then get fancy anengo. But you see obi measurement ha enka ematifo nti say sebio Ken Agyapong will want to waive himself from responsibility, from the collective responsibility. No. Internal context. Obi obeka just say internal context na affect it. Obviously affected us. Media say me senior or chinabino. I mean, when we have a proper honest conversation, you know, so you say how people were even treated by the party apparatus from all ranks. And why you know, near was it 169 sisters,
169 and 137.
Yes, sir. Yes, we candidate, we a presidency candidate, young contest, we when the same position we and about 137. About 137 crown to the extent say Speaker of Parliament. Party for members of parliament, I think they had their own preference. Ekoba I also ekochia also ye ho kire ye lusu member of parliament Professor Kwe is speaker of parliament there. Echi wo de ye hwe kwa ye fa so conduct ye prime minister presidential prime minister. And I've always held the view say Dr. Bawumia would have still won anyway. Because whichever way he was the establishment's choice and ordinarily and naturally people were aligned. But let's say ben except ye kwa it appears as though almost all members of parliament are following one person. All appointees are following one person. In terms of party structure, from national to a formula, OBI follow one person. Oh yes, answer.
But there were some MPs who were following other candidates. You say no MP followed Ken Agyapong? But I'm just talking. You don't use all. You say some or majority.
Almost. Meaning they make a bobi. Me say I am Marco as associate me kasa. But look at the picture that you try. Oh man, yes sir. Oh man, nkofobia the ediyaw. Because from 167, one person make a more choice, and then one more make a form of silence protest. Then it came to 137. Okay. Then they made another form of protest. Then it came to the flag bearership, and also no. This what I've made a view say. No crack naturally cry na. Kadi na hwehwe no kebede kebebe. No sa no. Umaya odi bi anya de. Emma enipa bi anya de akomo. So the only they make nyina. They make kwesi nyina say. I don't dispute to say internal contest no may also have had a way on outcome of your results. Yeah, but the nya no kwa and no man de ho but obi me party ni first. Me metra ha me discuss normal me susu say see and then we the way na religion ka ho and tribal ka ho and we ka ho ultimately okay report captures it, and the most important thing is ebe ye juma we will come back stronger. We first say very strategize form ho no ye be kan ho bom ye sa be so say be group nkakra sa back. The only thing that we disagree a bit here, the approach now, they restructure. Me susu say, and of course, not only me, I'm making a case for the Ken Agyapong camp that looking at how about to host and some coin with the defeat now isusu say, can say a wake up call, and the best and effective way I can demobilize it should have rather been a form ho. Nanke the free form. Obi obeka chels bia say ye flag bearer. All of a sudden to be a panacea to all the challenges in the party. Nijidie from kakra. It's not scientific. And that dear would you tuma a presidential candidate too. This is a flag bearer. So all of a sudden we flag bearer. Every other problem in the party will solve no. And yet a jumasa.
But how about Kwesi the arguments what the National Council decided pursuant to my constitution, no, to fix the date for the presidential primaries. The party has within 6 months. So within 6 months, no, more organizing elections from polling station to national cry. You can do it within the 6 months. What National Council is saying is 31st January, dear, elect a flag bearer. In whatever you want to do, some way bottom up, middle down, middle up, you can still do it within the 6 months, no? And you're possible.
Obi.
Yes.
Videos they be a meta cabrophobia. Me see it will be a friend objective realities.
Okay.
Adia in the who's a deal with a hana yede and nam a hana has a nayede echo. She say mono. There is no way say party bench say within 6 months and young fan to a bar from polling states able bosodo.
But it is possible. It is possible.
Oh, certain.
When say you need an early Congress to elect presidential.
Obi, as I don't want to be theoretical about it. Make proper practical assembly.
Okay.
Say you aba. Say neya eka say yes say adiewi. Yes, all of a sudden you say by 31st of January yenya flag bearer. Until ususu say all of a sudden you better go to polling station we aye electoral area aye constituency aye regional aye national aye presidential say
moko conference jitumo say mo betima
say ne sad dia obi senka asembia anya dey anyhow nemum when you communicate and people understand the communication in a different context and have a different understanding on how you communicated that, then there is a problem with the communication we brought out there. It cannot be say ubia antiasi akoye say oh any antiasi say yakoto flag bearer first. Now up to now there has not been any substantial clarification to it. It can be say a mistake in the antiasi. It can be.
Because most of the decisions are culminating in the flag bearer election on January 31st will be taken at more conference.
Yes. But Obi say Obi amanyo say nipa na ye Obi nipa na ye komo ye nim ye ho ade na me catch say I spoke about the objective realities.
Yes.
Obi me tell hey if we are ya de me fun yi e kire 100 reasonable men on the street Samsung me boa Obi enu be catch say detail.
Okay.
Me boa I just say Obi asebi o well hu ni yi ana say problem won ni ana o biare bia ono no nti ase na ye different ente sa ade ye hu se eko kai afa kumase kwan so a eko so ka chem se ka de ko voter ready ase what be that obi kai kumase kwan so na namu atra masama atra so hum obi ye kwa so se kwan kra de timi dan ho ba da bi o any reasonable man will not agree with you say ka no eko of any say of voter eko voter ka kwa fa wo tema ho baby na ewura mu afa pampam side na nka na card na nim hwe kumase de eheda na wobu ka cha me say aka no ko
but as a campaign do you agree with early presidential primaries no?
Yes, I do.
And the mujitum
when we don't oppose it you know top down we don't oppose it say we oppose it in certain terms say empekura because one of here so na kofa say communication they say any okra per say polling station for no yes say omo yi free so nti o kasa ho asema wa hwe ni ye be se panic na haba because asio for na 2 million de eyomo dia say free omo be yi no de omo be yi no mbe de omo be yi nti the can say despite the fact that we don't oppose it we are of the view say the most effective way of rebuilding can start the free asie
but you cannot do it that way and still want an early presidential primaries because all early presidential primaries something would have to give way. It won't mean kase debia from a which would take say 2 years and hold that view and still hold the view say me early presidential primaries.
Early presidential primaries and then say party no amambrano constitution no range in the early no the early no can be January, the early can also be August.
Next year.
Yeah, the most important thing is what fix it the fundamentals no who's a party now who are the ejina baby ejina yi. That's what Obi ma create also an impression and set a narrative going say every decision that seemingly may come from the top on will be popular. A classical one here there and SC and where party making decisions say young Ablekuma Nofa a form for said no intima city nya de enkon se party make decision na nya popular no obi ka ho asema se be bru eno nche se bi ye mu party ni hye ya na party ni mpanifo by MPP party no party a na ye enye ene na se bi party na attraction no akwa from kakra nya ye try to rebrand and rebuild that attraction for party power na attraction for party no one of the characteristics very synonymous with attraction for party is they are open for intellectual conversations and discourse into what kasampe obitimi chena adwen say there be isuzu we so kase isuzu say na dey isuzu say anka ye nton tentempa ye fa top down obi so say can say there be because the top down, one of the disadvantages now ukoyi flabera first is one here and say when papa you end up creating a monster
in the past.
I feel na ono benya hodin bebre na tumi so de obi no kura ne se obi apetumi o wo obi atumi a so opebi ayede aka ho wono wanye ni papa o so o chobe so koyi national executive and this ofi national na fi wayi regional say yeah we work at so but there are structures there but we nyina nim ye say structures no at every point here human interface there e wo mo I also mean trace cam obia during elections hey then to 1 week time 2 weeks time the sika command say on fanfaka emra eno no so obetimi ana what I say emra no wo ho hye no wo ho but nipa wo kwan wo no be fa so aye de aye ye bibia so if we are not very careful you end up creating a system here the problem that you are trying to cure no complex problem. It's just like what they see in economics as the Cobra effect. So okay India there now we almost say Cobras no abayne say or toto no the aboa farmers no at the end of the day the farmers then made the youth and started praying the Cobras because they realized no kwen fa so ye dey we say phone no mo ye abayne no say na mo de mo ye no there's a motion that you are about Tomaye, and yes, I cried say that they told you. No, Muslim told you, Cobras intimate on no Muja Muguku. Afraid the problem that we are trying to cure no the yakase enti semibu ha kokobo no ba enu nche so bi challenge status quo bi abonte so for the be hu sa the party no mu de obia give you room for that open conversation say we fa na adwemra we fa na adwenkyeremra we nye say even though the decision has been made I don't think it is out of place for people to make commentaries on this say they felt say the most effective way of doing this should have rather been this
very well Emrano Echo I would ask a final question near the SC and then maybe sometime later no be banafe we look at Ken Agyapong policy
honorable Okubo beta ma me nsem wa mentimi kan se besi kano me no nti ensani bu ha se the yok mesi aka no minim kwa fa so better answer that one tell came
so bana me who say wa bana
no Joe trying to came mama ensani bu ha se
atwa so my final question is from Momo camp no more belief and it's the NPP should not just elect a flag bearer but rather the next president of the Republic of Ghana. Now, by that, no Momo candidate is the person who beats me winning power, the Ama MPP, and none other.
Obi, political parties say the missing who can, no. Trump card the wo we are sick of seeing a political power to me.
Yes.
Because I have rich ideas, undisputed. But no matter how rich your idea is,
you have to win power.
If you don't win power, and if you are not winnable to even win power in the first place, you can't implement.
Yes.
And those ideas will then become obsolete.
Yes.
Obi, ideas come from passipa no go forward no. Me sure say kasa ideas if they had come into fusion, kebi a komaya the assessor. Komaya the konenim. So you don't need rich ideas alone. But you also need to complement those ideas with winnable candidate and marketable candidate to be the Ajitumi Naba. Sebibru will not cast any aspersions on A, B, C. As for the results of the elections, is there for all of us to see.
Yes.
But the asema Ken Agyapong can is now almost from say African that they Soviet by Dana when you come free me. I've forgotten the name.
Baby,
African Sanity.
Yes,
African Sanity. Yes. One more a year, a buy.
Yes.
You can clearly see say the Bakua na me taking interest. One of the variables are no the people who are employed, who are unemployed, the people more students. Now one more self-employed. Self-employed, or consider artisans, market women, traders, hawkers, petty traders. one or the almost say category of the self-employed.
Yes.
And students one more GDS watching over you school and a baby a day. Aye, and unemployed. Usanko fu in a day a dorsal. Interestingly, those who are employed or more party delegates no pay the research finding or now come about me. But in it is also more interesting to say those who are unemployed Anna, one more self-employed, the artisans, the market women, the traders, the ordinary people, and the students, Ken. So, Anna, interestingly, one of the key variables also had to do with gender. Remember, do pebaumia. Na a man mukra mekaso Ken or you show when you this was a crent, a man so where the epic Ken. So when I say, Kofo so one form the base. In law, Kamaka said the gunum, a seal for Nangazam. A lot of people resonate with Ken Agyapong. And Yen Susu Mudie, who say a phone for no, it's not really about leading the party alone, but it's about getting a leader who can also win the election. Power. And power no, baby a phone for the day, and no, a dream. Now, tier for more for the Obi, my producers in cookroom. No more interview randomly. We research if it be random sampling yade. Random sample no more interview for. Who said who interview ni pedubia 7 makers more the Kennedy by a bed. Yebeto. More the Kennedy by a bed. Yebeto. It does not mean say not about me a bad candidate or wrong candidate too. But you see, it's a matter of preference, especially due to the circumstances and the moments that we find ourselves. And then a quick free as a whole party structure decides, including say yes, Dr. Bamiako make a donation because he was part of one more NECA said they shouldn't go for the election. Until then after you make a donation. At a critical time like this, you need somebody who can look into the people's face and give them hope and look into the NDC for them catch them as a maza. Bobi enya be man sin obi a okrom hawo na ebetimi ene ma ye dey achegina ye ntin nyina se ye ko na mum ye protect ye ballot aye dey ye wo eno na ebetimi ma o manfo na ye die o mu ama otimi win election. Now win election ni wi a that is where you can implement all the rich ideas. Good ideas. Until then, it becomes obsolete ideas if you are not winnable candidate.
Quatting Esquire, spokesperson of the Ken Agyapong campaign.